Do you have a goal or is it just a preference? Hey everyone, I'm Amy and I'm super excited to be here with you today. Here we are at the end of 2024 and I'm looking into 25. I've got an event that I'm hosting January 11th, 2025. Guys, I have amazing, amazing women. They're going to be vulnerable. They're going to be honest. They're going to talk about their steps and their path forward. I've got some real world changers in there. I've got Rachel Knight. I've got Crystal Stewart. I've got Terry Trask. I've got Megan Franklin, the new athletic director at UNI. I've got Anna. The two Annas from my office are doing big things behind the scenes that we're gonna showcase. There's just a lot of women that are doing things. I got the amazing Dr. Susie Bartlett. You are not going to want to miss this event. Not only is it going to be inspirational, and not only is it going to inspire you to take action, we're going to give you tactical and practical steps. Again, I always talk to people about the fact that if I can look at someone that I see success with, sometimes their success might look overwhelming to me. But if I can understand that the pain and the struggle that they went through and they overcame it, it gives me a borrowed belief that if they can do it, I can do it too. That day is going to be full of them. We've got Kathy Young. Guys, we've got some amazing people. So I haven't even given you the whole list. I want you to just know it is going to be a day you won't want to miss. January 11th, 2025, Thrive. Register today, grab a table, grab a friend, and book it. So, do you have a preference or do you have a goal? It's kind of interesting. We just hosted our yearly team advance and we're talking about, our goals for next year. And if you write a goal down, you're 42% more likely to actually accomplish that goal. And then if you declare the goal, that even creates a 4 times more likelihood that you'll complete it if you declare it publicly. And so we did an exercise called Go to the Board, and we literally publicly declared our goals for next year, not just business, but personal. And then after declaring those goals, we asked the question, do I have the ability to hold you accountable? Do you give me permission to hold you accountable to your goals? I mean, they're not mine, they're yours. So do we have permission to hold you accountable to those things? And if we don't, just tell me that, right? Because I don't want to try to hold someone accountable and hold someone to their goals and their dreams if they're not really committed to them. So that was a great day because this is what I found. A lot of times we write goals and we have things that we want to accomplish, but they're more like preferences instead of actual goals. Because a goal is, hey, I'm going to have forward movement from point A to point B. I'm going to get there. I'm going to take an action step that's going to get me to point A from point B. A preference is, you know what? I'm going to get there if the circumstances and the conditions are right. If I happen to have some good luck along the way, if I happen to, if the economy works out for me, if it doesn't, if the market works out for me, if it doesn't, if people are in the mood to buy or not buy, if the goal comes easy to me, if the money's not too tight, I'll save this year. If things don't happen, I'll save. Is it a goal or a preference? Are you starting to see the difference? A goal is I'm committed to making this happen. And I'm going to take the necessary steps to make it happen. Where a preference is, I really would wish for that and I want it, but I only want it if it doesn't really cost me anything. So as we head into 2025, I want you to think, do you have a goal or do you have a preference? When you have a goal, that means you're going to move mountains to make it happen. You're going to go into the uncomfortable seasons to make it happen. Today, I just happened to be on a call. We're doing a challenge with real estate agents, locally and across the country and in Canada. And it's all about our commitment, right? And I was talking to them about the discipline to move things forward. And I used to host 4 open houses every Sunday afternoon. And then I would take a little bit of a break. I go change my clothes and I grab a box of cereal. This is just basics. I grab a box of cereal and jug of milk, and I would literally go down to my office, and I would dread going. I would like kind of want to lollygag. I'd want to do everything. It'd be a beautiful day, and I'm like, no, I have to go sit my butt in the seat. And so here's the thing I would say to myself: Sunday is gold and Monday is old. Everyone will start to follow up with people on Mondays. Everyone will get back to people on a Monday morning, and they'll head into their Mondays with a foggy thought of what their week holds. And I just made a commitment that no matter what I felt like on the inside, no matter how much I didn't want to do it, no matter how many invitations I had to turn down to not be able to go do something right on the spot, I stuck to my thing. And every Sunday night, I sat in that chair and I called back everybody who attended my open houses. I called them back, I reached out, and I set my week, I set my schedule. And did I always have success? No. But guess what? I had a lot more success than most people did because it was fresh, it was a commitment. And in the real estate business and open house days, Sunday is gold and Monday is old. And so that became my philosophy. And it's really become my philosophy with all things with a client. Like, hey, today's the day, tomorrow's not. Today's the day to reach out. Today's the day to make contact. Today's the day to push forward our commitments and our activities, not tomorrow. Don't postpone to tomorrow what you can do actually today. So as you enter 2025, you have to get crystal clear on what actually you want. So clarity is the biggest key to moving forward in things. I heard this pastor speaking one day, and he said he'd call all these people to the prayer lines and he'd have them come up and say, what can I pray for you for? And they'd be like, I don't know. He goes, perfect. That's exactly what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get in life. You don't know what you want. That's exactly what you're going to get. And he would just move on. I thought, wow, that's a little bit harsh. But then I thought to myself, that's true. If you don't know where you're going, if you don't have a clearly defined goal or objective, how can you get there? So here we are. It's December or 2024. Sit down, take 10 minutes. Is your future worth 10 minutes of writing a goal down? Write the goal down. 42% more likely to accomplish your goal when it's written. So write it down. And then look at it. Look at that goal every day. Because the more you look at it, the more clarity you get on it. The more you look at it, the more committed you get to it. The more you look at it, the more your mind starts to go to ways that you're going to accomplish it. And you start to look at it. Then at number 2, you're going to get someone you're going to share it with. Hey, I'm going to do this by this time. So you have an accountability partner that you can't actually make excuses to. You got to find the right accountability partner. You don't want to make excuses, right? And then 3, when you're looking at it, I want you to visualize it. I want you to put an emotion behind it. Like, what's it going to feel like when I accomplish that? What's that going to be like? Guys, I have a great example. I'll just use my own self as an example, is that last year released a book at our conference, and I was really excited about it. A book had kind of been on my radar for multiple years, but I've never considered myself a writer. And actually, it was like I rode the struggle bus when it came to writing. Like, that was just not my world, right? I was great in speech class, but get me in anything else, and I wasn't. So I had a big mental block about writing a book. Like, ooh, I'm not able to. Well, here's the thing. Anymore with anything you do, you can record it and then transcribe it. There's so many tools out there that make writing a book so much more easy. Although you still have to do the discipline. You still have to sit down and do something, right? You still have to create the content. But I put that together. And then this past year, I started to have a feeling like, I think I want to do a devotional, a 30-day devotional. And I want to name, I knew the title right away, You Win. And so I started to kind of write some notes down and kind of enter into it and have some discussions about it. And I started to write a chapter, and I started to work on a day. And then guess what? I decided, I don't think it's any good. I'm probably not going to write it. There's way more qualified people out there than me to write it. It's going to take too much time. And I sat there in all my excuses, yet I had this thing on the inside that said, write the 30-day devotional. So with that, I stepped back into it and I wrestled with it. And here's what happened with me. A month ago, I had the 30-day devotional about halfway done. And about a month ago, I said, either I have to lock in and get really serious about this, or this is never going to happen. And then I thought about future pacing, which I talk to you guys about all the time. what will my future self say about this? Will my future self thank me or not, right? I thought my future self will thank me if on January 11th, we're standing at our event and I have a new devotional that I can release to you. My future self would like that. My future self would be proud of the fact that I knocked that devotional out. And I think that it's going to add a lot of value. And I don't say that arrogantly. I say that actually, I think that like I'm writing it because it's helped me. It's practical, it's tactical. It's helped me win in so many areas. And so I know it'll help a lot of people win. And so I pushed through. But here's the thing. We have counselors of our emotion that try to seep in. So I knew it was go time. And so I tried all these hacks to like just voice record and then transcribe or take part of a podcast and transcribe that. And the truth of the matter is I just had to sit with myself and I just had to write it. And I had to look at it and I had to delete it and start over. And I had to go through that process. So fast forward a week ago, I'm like, wow, I have got to crush this thing. And I was still being counseled by the fact of no one's going to know if I did it or didn't do it. I could always do it next year. I can make this happen. It's okay. And I said, no, future self, think about it. You have to make this happen. And then I thought about the people's lives I thought I could impact. I'm like, I have to make it happen. So guess what? Every morning, 4:45 or 4 o'clock, I'm like, get up and I have to write. I've got to knock this out. I've got to sit in this seat. The holiday weekend, I'm like, the emotions will counsel me. It's a holiday weekend. Sleep in, lay around, be casual. No, here I am, 4 a.m. Like that book is like, I've got to knock that book out. I have to get it done. And I spent, 7 or 8 hours a day, like just locked into that zone because my future self on January 11th is going to be so excited to release to you a 30-day devotional called You Win. And my future self knows that it's going to be impactful to people. And the future impact of that had enough pull power to get me out of bed in the morning, to get me, no matter how tired I was, no matter how much I didn't feel inspired to do it, made me get out of the bed. And I'm thankful to tell you that it's going to be there. You'll see it January 11th. I'm excited about that. And it'll be impactful. But I had to get really clear. Like was it a goal or just a preference? Yeah, I'd like to have some. But when you have a goal, you look at the cost and you know there's a price to pay. You're not going to get to sleep as long. You might not be able to have to say no to some activities. On the inside, you might have to tell your emotions just to take a hike and step back. But you have to push forward if it's a goal. If it's just a preference, most people won't accomplish much. And that's how come most people by February 1st, most people, 92% of people that have written New Year's goals literally have cast them to the wayside because they really weren't a goal. They were a preference. They were if it happens, I'd like to see that happen, but they weren't committed to it. They didn't have clarity on what that actually was. They didn't have a well-laid action plan. Guys, when you join our event January 11th, you're joining a movement of women that are committed to action. We're going to have an action-packed showcase of women that day. In fact, I've got a panel that we're going to showcase some action takers from last year. I can't wait to announce those two. Guys, it's going to be great. But I'm preparing you. Like, you have to go into your 25 with the mindset of, do I have a goal or do I have a preference? And if I have a goal, how committed am I to making it happen? Am I committed at all costs? Because know this, it's going to be harder than you think, and it's going to take longer than you think. That's the number one thing. And it's going to probably cost you more than you think. But if you could enter into it knowing that I'm going to be at some point, although I'm inspired to do it today, I'm going to be uninspired tomorrow. It's going to have a discipline that kicks in, that I just do what I do, right? It's not any different than when I used to host those open houses, and then I would spend 1 hour making those phone calls. In my emotions, I never felt like doing that. I never wanted to go do it. So I would shift my energy. I would like run around the room for a second. I'd get my energy up there. I'd have, positive talk. And then I would say, you know what? These people are going to respond so favorable to me when I call. They're going to respond favorably to me when I call. I'd shift my expectation. I'd shift my energy. And then I would do the practice. Never excited to do it. But when I got done, it's just like exercise. I might not ever want to do it, just like you. But when you get done, you've got that feeling of accomplishment. You won for the day. Right? So I would walk out of that Sunday. I might be discouraged that I didn't set an appointment, but there would be this feeling on the inside that, oh, I was disciplined. I did it. I've set the course for the week. I have a good plan. And most people weren't doing that. Here's what I know. Most people are not setting their goals right now for 2025. Most people are in holiday mode. They're just, so excited, living life, buying all the gifts, eating all the food, doing all the things. But if you lock in today what my goals are for 2025 and you start to take action towards them today, think how much farther ahead you'll be. I remember I was telling the group that I was on the phone with today that by Thanksgiving, most people in the real estate industry have quit for the year. They're like, I'm done. We're just going to go through the holidays. Nothing sells, nothing happens. Everyone's we'll do it next year. And I just refused that mentality. And I remember it was a snowy December 24th that morning. And I had like 5 deals that I was negotiating. And I looked around and I was like, man, I would like a breather. I'm ready. I've got to get my Christmas shopping done. I've got so much to do. But I'm negotiating these transactions because there are people moving to the area and doing whatever. And I had transactions and homes being sold. So I had like 5 transactions that on the morning of the 24th I was negotiating. And I looked around my office that morning. It was kind of the last morning that we'd all be together for a few days. And most people were like, oh, it's just been a really quiet month. So excited for the holidays. I'm going to knock out my 2025 goals in January. We're going to come back and crush it. And I said, man, I don't know, but I'm swamped. I am so busy. And they looked at me with somewhat of like a, what the heck? The other was like, huh? And I'm like, yeah, guys, I've been swamped. I'm only got 5 offers this morning that I'm working on. And guess what I knew? I went back to my Thanksgiving situation that I didn't stop my activity. I continued to do my daily activities of reaching out, of calling, of following up, of feedback. Because I knew that in January, I didn't want to have a situation where I had no closings coming up, had nothing going on, and I went into a year de-energized with an uphill battle and a big mountain to climb. I just took it bite-sized every single day in November into December, and guess what? It yielded fantastic results for me in January. And I ate the fruit of my labor and my discipline. Was there a cost to it? Sure. Was there a commitment to it? Sure. Was it a preference that I do well in January? No, because that's everyone's preference. I was committed to seeing it happen. I had a bigger picture. And that is what it's going to take for you to move yourself forward in 25. You're going to have to get clarity on your goal and decide, do I have a goal or do I just have a preference? There's a big difference between the two. One will require everything from you. One will require great discipline, great commitment. It'll require you to think differently about obstacles. You'll have to go around them. And the other, just a preference. So when things get hard, that goes by the wayside. When the urge to eat the cake, hits you at 10 o'clock at night, you'll just go do it. When the desire to just sleep in and skip your exercise class happens, all because, you had a stressful day yesterday, you probably could use some extra sleep. Your preference. Do you see the difference? Preference or goal? You decide. But clarity is a key. And how badly do you want it? Because how badly do you want it will make it happen. All right, guys, enjoy the holidays. Enjoy your time. Know you're on this earth for more. Be so excited to be with your family and your friends and all the festivities. But you don't have to give up your disciplines. You don't have to give up those things that you do daily to move the needle forward. Compress them a bit if you have to, but don't quit. Don't give them up. Remember this, you are more. I'll see you soon.